Good evening, everyone. Sunday Adelaja here. Shegun Fatumo, evening. Bidemi, hi. Eric, Lanon Adebayo, Mashu Esong, Bebe. It's been some time now for Bebe. Not seen her for some time. Shao Smith, Ikifa, Modupe, Akinola. Welcome, everyone. Glory Baye, Adiola Disu, TY, Eric Lindu. Welcome, everyone. Afolabi Victor, Ngoya Sharis, Obi Ojimadu, Phyllis Mick, Jacob Sale. I'm sure you are missing your wife here. Oluwamuyiwa Wisdom. Wow, what a name. Wisdom. Big one. Anne-Marie, Gladys Nshang, Isioma Ivan, Olungwa. Isioma is saying, I'm looking dapper this evening. What does that mean, looking dapper? Now somebody tell me the English meaning of that. What that is English, I know, but there are some words that I'm not used to using. I'm not used to meeting, maybe because I've not been reading some literatures. I think I'm familiar with the word, but I'm not quite sure I know the meaning. I'm looking dapper. What is dapper? Is it dapper or dapper? Dapper? Okay. Dapper. What does that mean, TY? I'm looking cool. I'm looking cooler. Okay. Looking really good, that's what it means, huh? Okay, well, I have to grow up, you see. I don't know everything. Altogether good dapper. It means I don't know. You see that I'm just ordinary. I don't know everything, you see. It means sharper and cooler. Okay. I will remember. You see, I'm not too familiar with the beauty languages of our ladies. I'm sure it's the woman that is calling me looking dapper. Do you use that for men as well? I'm a village boy. Just an ordinary village boy here. Just an ordinary village boy coming from Idobila village. Just an ordinary village boy here. Okay, looking dapper. Isioma is saying, Yvonne, she's saying it's a London slang for looking trim and neat. You look cool. We love you. Thank you, Silva. Thank you. Thank you for teaching me London slang. Oh, only for men. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm looking dapper. All right. I'm going to bear that in mind. Okay, now here we go. It's not been an easy day for me because I was in court today. So every day I go to court, it's always a rough day. But God is in control. The reason I'm in court because I'm being accused falsely of things I didn't do. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. If you are going to think about people accusing you falsely, you could get bitter, get angry, and live in unforgiveness. Or worse still, you might be thinking of revenge. You might be thinking of revenge. So, so to avoid that, I've got to look at it differently. I've got to look at the whole situation differently. So the way I've decided to look at the false accusation that I've been fighting for the past 8 years now. For 8 years, I've not left Ukraine because I've been in court fighting this thing, and I vow that I will not leave Ukraine until my name is clear and until my reputation is restored. And you know, when somebody keeps you in court for 8 years unjustly, and you know what it means to go to court, you are spending millions, right? Especially for 8 years. And you have not been able to travel, so it means your business interest is suffering. It means your ministry interest is also suffering to a large extent. It means that you are paying a hard price in a lot of ways that is more than what could be expressed. So you stand a good chance of hating the people that have accused you unjustly, that have brought all these false accusations against you. So either you're going to hate, bitter, or revenge. Or you could go the Christian way. You could go the Christian way. And the Christian way that I've decided to go is to go the way of forgiveness and to go the way of love. And so the one good way that I think has helped me to forgive these people and to not be angry or bitter at them is to see them as people that God has chosen to use. They are the privileged few that God has chosen to use to teach me some life lessons, maybe that I needed to know for my journey in life, or some of the life lessons that I needed to know for me to become a better person, or for me to be able to be better equipped for the ministry or calling that God has for me. Anyway, that's just talking about how my day went. So, well, here we go. Today we are talking about, of course, we are talking about ladies as usual. And my request for you, please, let's go ahead and share the link. Let's go ahead and share this link. You will see a share button under your video there. Let's go ahead and share the button. Press the button and share the link so that we could start on time. So let's go ahead and share this button. This program. So go share the link. When I have a hard day like that, I need to drink some coffee, to keep myself awake. Need to drink some coffee to keep myself going, to keep myself awake, you see. So while you are sharing the link, let me enjoy my own coffee here. Otherwise, I will not have time anymore. And as you are sharing, please go and write something on the shared video. Write your comments, write your remarks and your impression from what you've been learning. We have an interesting topic today. And the topic is the qualities of a matured woman. The qualities of a matured woman. That would be a deep one, isn't it? I think that's a topic every lady needs to know about. Okay. The qualities of a matured woman. qualities of a mature woman. This week we are starting our HMT, starting on Sunday, on the 2 days or 3 days to go. So we have some people arriving today or tomorrow. Most people are arriving on Saturday for the HMT. That's going to be quite an experience. Okay, finish drinking that coffee. I needed to rush it. Finish drinking the coffee. Oh, okay, here we go. Now, voila. Now, the topic of today, if you have shared the link, the topic of the day, qualities of a matured woman. Number one, I want to talk about 3 qualities of a really matured woman. I want to say maturity has to be expressed in 3 areas of a woman's life. The first aspect of maturity a woman needs to attain before trying to get married is, of course, physical maturity. So a woman has to be matured physiologically or physically before she could be set for a married life, a life as a wife, and a life as a mother. Number 2 form of maturity that a lady must experience before she even considers marriage, which is even more important than physical maturity, is the mental or psychological maturity. The mental or psychological maturity. So those are the 2 qualities or form of maturity that I will be talking on today. There are 2 others I will talk about tomorrow. I will mention tomorrow. So, what is a physical maturity for a girl before she considers marriage? Now, legally, in most countries, a lady is considered matured or grown up enough legally as a matured woman when she's 18. In some countries, it could be as low as 16, while in some countries, it might be as low as 16, 15. So I think the age of consent in most countries will be 16 to 18. Age of consent is the age where you are allowed to begin to have intimate relationship with a woman. And so if you marry, maybe I think that's when you are ready to marry a girl, or at least when you will not be arrested for having anything to do with a girl. So 16 years old in most countries, 16, 17, 18. Of course, there are some countries, Muslim countries, where the age of consent, where they already begin to give out a woman in marriage, could be as low as 13. And in some core Muslim countries, a girl could be given out in marriage at 8 or 9. So a girl could be given out to marry at age of 8, 9, or 10. And she will be given out to marry not to her age mate. She will be given out to marry to somebody who is like a father or a grandfather. So a lady of 8 years old could be given in marriage to a man of 40, a man of 50. And there is a reason for that, you see. That is based on the religious practice of the Muslims. Islam kind of accepts that kind of marriage arrangements for children to be married. And the reason is because the founder of the Muslim religion or Islamic religion himself was, married a few years before he died. And the age of the youngest wife was, I think, 9. So he married a girl of 9 years old, I think. Yeah, 9 years old. And at this point, he was about 60 years old or so, or maybe 56 years old. So Muhammad was like 50 something years old when he married a girl of 9 years old. So since the founder of that religion could afford to marry a girl that is so young, it is therefore said to be allowed in the Islamic religion for a grown-up man of 50 years old or 30 years old or 50 years or 40 years old to marry a girl of 13 years old, 12 years old, and things like that. So this is one of the things that we have to challenge in our age. And by the grace of God, first of all, I have a battle before me, which is in Nigeria. I want to take the battle to Nigeria first, and I have more serious problems in Nigeria dealing with the economic and social transformation of that country and African continent in general. But I really hope I will be able to touch on the topic of I hope I will be able to touch on the topic of starting a crusade against child marriage, like we're talking about now. I think all progressives all over the world must start a campaign that children should not be given in marriage before the age of 16 at least. And that's going to be a big fight, especially with the Muslim world, and especially in those core Muslim countries. It's going to be a very big fight. Well, but okay, I don't have time for that now, but I hope I'll be able to get to that one day. Meanwhile, thank God we are living in free countries, and maybe not strictly Islamic countries, so the age of consent in modern societies now will be 16 and up over. But still, 16 is still young. It's still, especially for a woman to be called matured physically. So we are talking about maturity. I will start by explaining when is a woman matured enough physically, physiologically to be married. Of course, we know that thing that is being practiced in Islam is at the verge of, in a modern world, that it could be counted or be regarded as pedophile. But in the Islamic religion, it's not. It's like it's regarded as a legal marriage. But even in the Western world, where 16 years old is the age of consent, when women are allowed to marry their lovers or when they are allowed to enter into sexual relationship, I would still say that it is still a bit young for marriage. Now, if they are just talking about sexual interaction, that is one thing. But if you are going to talk about marriage for a woman, 16 is too young. Now I see that Flair Karim Matip is suggesting 17 to be the age for marriage. Well, 17 too is too young when we talk about marriage. Now, if you are talking about just for sexual interaction, which is illegal in our Christian faith, is regarded as adultery or fornication, that might be okay. But when we're talking, but what I'm addressing is when is a woman matured enough physically to become a wife, to consider marriage. So if it is marriage that we are looking at, if we are talking about marriage, when is a woman physically matured enough to be a wife, to become a wife, or to consider, being taken as a wife? Psychologically and anthropologically, if you look at anthropology and oh, sorry, this is not what Flair said. Let me read what Flair said. Flair Karim Matip is protesting. She said, my first proposal for a marriage was at 17. Oh, okay. I was in tears during a whole week. men need to be educated to know how to recognize a girl versus a woman. Oh, okay, 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 okay. But you are still single now, Flair. You are still single. So that means you took the right decision that time. All right. Otherwise, they would have spoiled your life. Anyway, well, yeah, you are right. 17 is too young. So when is the best age for a woman, or when is the age we could say a woman is physically matured enough for marriage? That age is between the age of 20 and 22. So a woman is physiologically and physically matured enough to be a wife, to live together compatibly, physically, just physically, not mentally now, not psychologically, not socially, just physically, is when a girl is 20 minimum. She has to be 20 years old. Some girls at 20 are not physically matured enough. At 20, most girls are still developing. So there are some girls that they might look big at 20, they might even look big at 19 or at 17, like Flair Karina she was proposed at for marriage at age 17. That was quite early, but it's probably because she looked big enough or she looked matured enough. But even though she looks like that, it is still deceptive. It is still a lie. It is still physically deceptive to look at just how she looks and says she's matured enough. It's not about the size. It's about the process that is going on within a girl, within a lady. So the process of physical growth continues in a girl till the age of 20. That's the minimum. So she keeps on growing and maturing till the age of 20, but then it is only from between 20 and 22 that she comes to the plateau and to the apex of that maturity. That is when she gets to the place where we could say she's matured enough as a girl, and she will not receive any trauma, and she will not be damaged physically if she goes to live with another man, or if she goes to be married as a girl. So I would therefore not advise anyone to marry before the age of 20, for any girl to consider marriage before the age of 20. But, being matured physically is not even enough. Being matured physically is nothing compared to all other forms of maturity that are needed before a girl becomes a wife. So physical maturity, physiological growth, that is not a big deal, But that is not the criteria for which a woman could marry. The fact that a woman is matured physically or physiologically is not enough a reason. It's not enough an argument for her to become a wife. So a woman should never marry just based on physical maturity or on physical growth. That is damaging, because a girl could be big enough or matured enough physically, but mentally she's not ready, or socially she's not ready, or psychologically she's not ready, or emotionally she's not ready. So even though she might not be damaged physically, but she could still be damaged emotionally, she could still be damaged psychologically, she could still be damaged mentally. So if we don't want to destroy our girls and our daughters and our sisters, we should work on them and help them to experience full maturity in all aspects of life before we could even, allow them to consider dating a boy or a man. Now, let's talk about men. Even though, my teaching is about women this week, but I will just mention that, because it might be interesting to some of you, when then is a man matured enough physically to be married? If the age of maturity for the girl is 22, what is the age of maturity for the boy. When is a boy or a man matured enough physically? We are not talking about financially, about socially, about mentally, about any other sphere of maturity, which are more important than physical. The easiest one is the physical maturity, which is just natural. You don't need to do anything. You just need to eat every day. So that is nothing. That's why it's not the most important thing to consider before marriage. It's nothing. But still, some people make the mistake of marrying earlier. So, but for men, when is the age when a man is physically matured enough to consider marriage? When is he physically grown enough? When if the process of growth for the lady continues till she's 20 and she only attains the apex of her growth at 2022, when does a man attain that height, that apex or plateau of his maturity, physical maturity? Well, the age for the men is between the age of 23 and 28. So most men don't attain their process of growth does not stop and does not get to full maturity until they are 25, 26, 27, 28. But for some men could attain that physical maturity by the age of 23. Normally not earlier. Most men don't. They still keep on maturing mentally, physiologically, in different aspects of their life. Of course, I know that men begin to sleep with girls at maybe 15, 16, 17 or something even earlier. But the fact that you sleep with a girl does not mean that you are matured enough, my brother. That does not mean that he's matured enough to really be a man. But a man reaches that age of maturity when he is between 23 and 28. Between 23 and 28. That's when he's fully grown. That is when he's fully matured. His thought process is more balanced and it's more stable. And physiologically, he's more, at a place where he could take a decision and live with another person. Otherwise, he's going to struggle because the process of change might still be happening and taking place in him. And if he's going to be changing in the process of trying to create another life, that will be very complex. That will be very complex, not just for him, but for the lady as well. So anyway, here we go. So I'm not going to talk too much about physical maturity because that is elementary, like I've said. All right. So men. So what form of maturity does a lady really need to, like, what are the qualities of maturity that a lady needs to attain before she considers marriage? There are other forms of maturity that are really, really important for the girl to attain before considering marriage. And physical, we are not even counting those ones. So let's look at the other areas of maturity that a woman must attain before she could consider marriage. Let's look at the other areas of maturity that a lady must attain before we could say she is ready for marriage. Number one, for a lady to consider marriage, she must attain mental maturity. Mental maturity. So a girl must be matured mentally. A girl, I will explain what I mean later on. A girl must be matured mentally. A girl must be matured emotionally. And a girl must be matured relationally, before she could even begin to think about building entering into a relationship or building a family, a marriage, or building a family, or entering into a marriage. So mental maturity, emotional maturity, and relational maturity are key for both men and women, but we're talking about women this week. So these are qualities that must be in a woman. These are areas where she must acquire or attain the quality of the qualities. These are the qualities of maturity that she must attain or achieve before she could consider setting up a relationship with any other person. Okay, so let's start with mental maturity. Let's start with mental maturity. So when do we say a girl is matured mentally, or what does that mean? Girls, I want you to take it easy, all right? But think about this. This is important. A girl is mentally matured when she's able to put her ego under control. That is a sign of mental maturity. Normally, before the girl reaches that stage of mental maturity, and a girl could be 40 years old and she's not yet matured mentally. She could be 30 years old and she's not yet matured mentally. She could be 50 years old and still not matured mentally. So how do I know, or how do we know if a girl is matured mentally or not? Look and observe her ego and how she deals with selfish issues and selfish matters. How successful is she in controlling egoism, her ego, her selfishness? How does she deal with things that concern her? Is she driven by ego, or she's driven by principles or by the interest of others? And that is a major factor that we all need to consider before we could say this lady is matured. Because if a woman goes into a relationship without attaining mental maturity, she will be pushing herself forward, and she's only looking for her own interests. And that is why a lot of men are so scared of women, because they are always thinking that women go into a relationship looking for their own interest and looking for men that will meet their needs and meet their interests and resolve their problems for them. And it's because they are trying to describe to us immatured women that did not take the time to mature themselves mentally. And I like a girl. There was a girl one day I was teaching about this in our church here in Ukraine. And one lady said, Pastor, because I was saying, if you really want to build a family and you want to have a relationship and go and marry, you must learn to put the interest of the other person ahead of your own interest. So this girl came forward and took the microphone and said, Pastor, let me tell you the truth. I'm not ready for anybody. I don't even want to think about any. How can I am not ready to think about any other person's interest before my own interest. I'm not ready for that. Right now, I'm only preoccupied with my own interest. The only thing that bothers me now is me and my interest. I don't even want to consider that anybody's interest exists right now. So if that is one of the qualities of before I have to consider before getting married, I'm not ready for marriage that way. That's what it means. I'm not ready for marriage. So let that marriage just wait. I want to further enjoy my own life. I want to take care of me first. I want to take care of me. I'm working, I'm schooling, I am growing, I am enjoying life, I'm traveling all over the world. I am going on vacation, on holidays. I like to dress, I like to spend money on myself. It's all about me right now, Pastor. It's all about me. I'm not ready to put anybody's interest above my own. I want to do it the way I want to do it. I want to take care of me, then everything left over, I could take care of other people. But right now, it is me that is in charge. I'm still the Lord of my life. So now, that is a big question right there. So you ladies, if you are feeling like that you still you right now want to take care of you, and that only you matter in your own interest right now. you take the first position in your life, and only your interest right now is what is preoccupying your life. If that is what you are thinking, and if that is where you are, just put that marriage question somewhere. Just put it beside. Just let it rest. Just forget about it. Don't look at your age, because it is not an age that determines if you are ready to marry or not. It is not age that determines age. Everybody has age. Everybody will attain the age of 20 or 22 sooner or later. So that is not the quality to decide if you are ready to marry or not. One of the things that will really help you to know if you are ready for marriage or not is when you begin to feel that you don't want to live for yourself anymore, that you want to take care of another person. When you begin to feel the need and the drive to take care of another person, to look out for the interest of the other. When your interest is not so much, it's not that important to you anymore. When your interest is no more the thing that is pushing you. When you are no more, looking out for your own interest, and you want to take care of another person. Yes, you are ready to marry. That means you are married material at that time. Before then, enjoy your life. Take care of you. Just take care of yourself. So, because when you say, I now want to I feel like taking care of other people, I feel like, meeting the needs of another person, I feel like, putting my own interest down, that means you are now matured, mentally matured, psychologically matured to become a married lady, to go into marriage. Now, another aspect of psychological or mental readiness or maturity that we need to look at before a lady is ready to marry. We need to look at how mature she is mentally. How do you know if a lady is mature? One, you already got one. How she deals with her egoism, how she deals with her ego, how she deals with her selfishness, how she deals with herself. If she is number one, she wants to live for herself right now, she wants to take care of herself, or she's ready to take care of another. So that is the first quality to know if a lady is matured mentally or not. The second quality the second standard that will help you to know if a lady is matured mentally or not is how she manages her aggressiveness, how she manages aggression, A lady that is not yet matured mentally, she doesn't handle her aggressions very well. She does not handle aggressiveness well. So if she's offended, or she's angry, or she's, she's not in a good mood, she's everywhere emotionally. She's angry, she's bitter, she's aggressive, she's angry, and so so that shows that lady, right now, stay at home and take care of yourself. Meanwhile, don't rush to marry that guy. Don't rush into any relationship right now, because you are going to be disgraced. You are going to be disgraced. You are going to be beaten bad. You are going to be beaten down bad. If you cannot undo your aggression, don't even think of marriage. Take care of yourself. Just enjoy life for yourself, because you are going to have a lot of instances when you are going to be offended in marriage. If you go into marriage and without managing your aggression, without managing your emotions, without managing yourself and your reactions, if you are not in a place to manage your aggression and you are not able to put it down and to be able to do what is necessary, you are not able to put principles above your aggression or aggressiveness, you are going to cry. And I'm sure a lot of people will be crying with you as well. So that is a sign that mentally you are not in that place yet to marry. You are not matured enough. A girl that is not able to handle her emotions and deal with aggression, she is not ready to go and live with another man and with another person and share a life with another person, because it's going to be bad. It's going to be bitter. I mean, there are some men serving jail time now because they couldn't, because of the emotions and the aggressiveness of their wives, and they couldn't handle it, and some of them killed their wives as a result. So if you cannot handle your aggression, if you cannot, you are not in charge of your emotions, and you are aggressive still, stay at home, my sister. Just stay at home. Some people call it hot-temperedness. If you are hot-tempered, and we need to let that thing cool down a little bit. That temper that is hot, we need to let it cool down a little bit. Because when you marry with hot-tempered, ooh, you might be experiencing that. You might need that hot temper every day. So a lady that is matured mentally, she will be able to deal with aggression, with a hot-temperedness, Next point for you to know if a girl is ready for marriage or not mentally, if she is mentally prepared and psychologically and mentally prepared, matured. I'm talking about maturity right now, mental maturity, all right? Psychological and mental maturity. Another quality, another way for you to know if a girl is married, if I'm not talking to the men, I'm talking to the girls. I'm just, so I don't want the men to begin to take these things and use against the women. I'm talking to the girls. I'm talking to the ladies for them to examine themselves, all right? So don't say I'm using this as to put the ladies down. No, I'm just here to help the ladies out. So another area that a lady needs to examine herself if she's ready for marriage or not, or she's ready to even consider that marriage or not, is in a lady's ability, because that shows, this is another sign of mental maturity or psychological maturity. What is the ability of the girl to admit a fault? So a sign of mental maturity, and this is not just for the ladies. This same quality is the same thing for the men. So all these qualities that I'm saying now, the same thing applies to the men. So if anybody is trying to come to you as a man, and you can use these qualities as well to examine him if it's okay or not. So another area of mental maturity is a girl or a woman able to admit her faults? A mentally or psychologically immature lady, she will never admit her fault. She will never admit her fault. She will never admit that she's wrong. She will never admit that she's wrong. She will rather argue a case. She will rather force a way. She will rather blame other people for her mistakes. She will rather, point accusing finger rather than admit that she's wrong or she's at fault. She will never admit her fault. She will never admit that she was wrong. And she will never admit that that she was wrong, and which is a bad thing and it's a problem. So it's not a big thing. Every one of us pass through this stage, and no problem. Let her live her life and enjoy her life as a single lady right now until she grows and matures in that area. The only problem is that if she goes to marry in that situation, that marriage will be more of crisis than enjoyment. That marriage. That marriage is going to be every day of crisis. There will be crisis in that marriage every single day. And God forbid that the boy or the man has the same problem. If the man is going to have the same problem, that he doesn't admit his fault also, that is a knockout relationship right there. That is going to be a bad one, because she's going to be accusing him and he's going to be accusing her, and you need some fire brigade in that kind of family. Fire brigade kind of family. So this is an aspect of mental maturity, both for the men and for the women. For you to know if that guy or man or you yourself as a girl is matured or not. Those things are very important. Look at how they deal. Look at how the man deals with his ego, or the woman how she deals with her ego. Look at the temper and the aggression, how the person or her or him deals with aggression. Number three, how do they admit their fault? Are they ready to ask for forgiveness? Are they keen in taking responsibility for their actions? Are they keen to humble themselves and ask for forgiveness and repent? And this is before you are married. These things have to happen in your day-to-day relationship with other people. And you need to judge yourself. You need to examine yourself and see your own level of maturity. You know what you could do, really, if you're a lady that is listening to me and you want to examine yourself, one thing you could do, make a list of these points that I'm giving you now and give yourself pass marks. Let's say the maximum mark is 10. So when we talk about admitting of guilt, admitting your fault and guilt, you can put it there. Let's say 10 is maximum. If you are excellent, if you are so good in admitting your fault, it means your maturity level is 10. That means you are mentally matured, psychologically matured. 10 is the highest. Now, if you are just 50-50, then you'll be 5. So you can give yourself 5. But if you don't like to admit your fault and you think it's shameful and it's a shame and you never do it, then you might be going under 5, maybe 3 or 2 or 4. And the same thing applies to all other qualities. How do you deal with your anger? How do you deal with your temper? How do you deal with your aggression? And then also the same thing applies to how you deal with your ego. Are you always wanting to be right? Are you always pulling the blanket your own way? And are you always looking for your own interest instead of for the interest of the other partner? So these are also some of the qualities that will help you to know. And you give yourself a mark. Give yourself a mark. And let other people give you a mark as well. If you have some good friends or some good girlfriends, or you might be able to ask them to assess you. Okay, Patricia is giving herself 8 upon 10. That is concerning what? Concerning aggression, or concerning admittance of guilt, or concerning egocentrism and selfishness. Anyway, you don't need to write your results here. Let everybody write their result for themselves. Let it be a personal examination. Let it be a personal examination for you, all right? So, Then the next thing that you want to pay attention to when we are talking about maturity, mental maturity, is a mentally matured person. A mentally matured person has the desire to work on himself or herself. A mentally matured person wants to grow. A mentally matured person is interested in his or her own growth. So if a lady is mentally matured, she wants to read books, or she wants to listen to messages, or she's thinking about her own development, her personal growth, her personal development. She's concerned about not remaining in one spot and not remaining in one place for the rest of her life. She wants to grow. She wants to, she's looking for information. She's educating herself. She's, developing herself. She's working on herself, on personal growth. So that is a sign that a person is mentally matured. Is mentally matured. Okay. Now, do I continue? Oh, this is enough for you girls. I want to hear from the ladies. Do you want me to continue giving you the signs of mental maturity, or this is enough for now? Or you are not ready to go on? But remember, this is not just for the ladies. This is for everybody. All right. These are the levels of maturity that must be attained by everyone. So, should I continue, girls, or let's just leave it alone? Because somebody was listening to me the other day and said, Pastor, it's too hard. It's too hard. You know, I said, why? What is hard here? I was harder with the men last week. He said, but you are telling us the truth. We don't want to hear this truth. These are hard truths. I said, which kind of truth do you want to hear then? Well, you know, say everything will be okay. But if I say everything will be okay, then you go into marriage and run into crisis. That's why they kill their wives. That's why some men end up killing those wives, or the wives end up killing their husbands or something. So you need to know these things. You need to know these things. Okay, let me give you the next one. Number 5, right? Number 5 sign of mental psychological maturity is ability to express yourself. If someone is matured mentally, she or he will be able to tell what he's thinking. It will not just keep quiet and be expecting the other person to understand what is going on inside of him. And women make this mistake a lot. Women will be thinking about the boy and be thinking, why doesn't he know what I need? I mean, he's supposed to know. He's supposed to understand what my problem is. Why doesn't he understand? Can't he see? Well, you know what? He cannot see. Men don't see. Men don't know until you tell them. So a sign of maturity for the lady is when she's able to express herself. So you must be able to express yourself and be able to tell the other person that you are relating with that, you know what, this is the situation. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. This is what I'm feeling. These are my thoughts. So the ability to express yourself and share what you are feeling, share what is going on inside of you, you know, not just be closed and expect the other person to just one way or the other discover by the Holy Ghost what is going on inside of you. No. We are not made to read minds. We are not mind readers, and we don't read each other's minds. So we need to learn to express. So so if you don't have these qualities, it's not a big deal. You can work on them. All these things are things we could always work on, and we could always begin to practice. So if you see that you are weak in that area right now, that you feel embarrassed to express yourself or to share what you are going through or what you are feeling, begin to practice it with your parents, with your relatives, with your friends, with your people who are close with you. Begin to practice this quality, what is going on inside of you. Develop yourself in it. So that will help your marriage, eventually. Communication, it's all about communication. Communication is very important in marriage. So you develop it before you go into marriage. Don't wait till you get to marriage before you try to develop it. Because you might not succeed. Everything will have been broken or damaged before you succeed in developing it in marriage. So you've got to develop it before marriage. That will help you now when you get into marriage. It will give you better understanding in your relationship and in your future marriage. Okay, the next point and the next sign of mental maturity is the ability to work with others. Because you must be able to partner and work with other people. You must be able to agree. The ability to agree. The Bible says that can two go together if they don't agree? Can two go together? You know, there are some people that can never agree. They can never agree with anybody. And agreeing means you have to step down sometimes. And you have to, express yourself sometimes, and then stop, hold back, and let the other person, give the other person the benefit of a doubt, allow the other person to also express themselves. The ability to agree to work together, to agree to cooperate together, to agree to cooperate and do things together with others. So if there is no person that you can agree with, don't even consider marriage, because marriage is all about a life of compromise, a life of agreements. You must be able to come to agreement all the time with your partner. So if you are just the one that's always fighting for your own interests, and there are some people that say that they are lonely eagles or lonely birds, and they don't like to agree with other people, they don't like to work with other people, and those kind of people are going to find difficult in marriage, because marriage is not for aloneness. Marriage is for two people, and that means you've got to agree. So develop your ability to agree and to work together with people. The easier it is for you to work together with other people, the easier it will be for you in marriage. But if you are not the type that has developed that skill, and it's a skill that everybody can develop, so take your time, develop your skill of working with other people, agreeing with people, partnering with people, cooperating with people. Learn the skills of partnering, cooperating with people. And when you do that, things will be easier for you in your future family as well. Okay, and another aspect of that, which is the next point, another aspect of mental maturity is similar to what I just mentioned now, but it is the fact that a mentally matured person will understand the need to be patient with the imperfection of others. You learn to be patient with others' mistakes, with others' failures, and with other people's imperfections. Some of us are perfectionists, and some of us are so good. We learn to do things good, and then we are not patient enough, and we don't like to endure others, and we don't like to give other people some benefit of a doubt. So a lot of people suffer from that. You cannot just stand it. You cannot stand other people's imperfection. But for you, and that is also a sign of immaturity. If you cannot stand other people's imperfection, and at the end of the day, you yourself, you are not perfect. There is no matter as long as you are a human being, you yourself too, you are not perfect. So you just have to learn to keep with other people and to recognize that you have to, learn to close your eyes at some of the other people's imperfections sometimes. And you have to learn to help people rather than condemn people, especially in their imperfection and in their weaknesses. So all of us, we need to learn to be more patient with people. We need to learn to be more, considerate with people, especially with people's imperfections, with people's weaknesses, and with people's failures. So that is another thing that you might want to consider to really be regarded as a matured person, a person that is matured. That is maturity in itself. The ability to be able to understand people, endure, and give people benefit of a doubt is a lot of sign of maturity. But if you are always screaming at people, if you are always angry and bitter at any single thing anybody does wrong, then you are not ready for marriage yet, because marriage is going to be full of all these kind of things. Of course, that doesn't mean that you are closing your eyes at every weakness. That doesn't mean that you agree with everything. But, there are some things that are too minor to pay attention to. So, and there will be a lot of those minor things in marriage. Marriages is full of them. Especially men. Men are full of imperfections. Now, like I said, there are those that could be endured, and but there are some of them, of course, that principle things that border on principles and standards and that you cannot bear with. And in that case, don't even enter into a relationship with the person in the first place. Don't enter into a relationship. So if you cannot endure and cover for the other person, it's better for you not to even, try to be friend with them or anything like that. Okay. What time is it? Ooh, my. Ooh. Let me give you a few more points before I go. Let me finish this point before I go. Which one should I give you now? Another sign of maturity is the ability to resolve conflict, the ability to conflict resolution skills. For people who are matured, they know how to deal with conflict. They don't just sweep it under the carpet, under the rug. They talk about it. They talk about it peacefully. They discuss it. They agree, and they move on. But a lot of people don't know how to handle conflict. So a lot of people don't know how to handle conflict, and they struggle. A lot of people struggle with conflict resolution, and some people think that they shouldn't talk about anything negative at all. But really, confrontation is a sign that you want to resolve a conflict. Confrontation is necessary for conflict resolution. There is no conflict resolution without confrontation. So you must be able to confront people, not with aggression, not with anger, but just with love. You must be able to confront people with love and be able to, because a confrontation is a sign that you want to bring about resolution. Confrontation is a sign that you want to, you want solution. But when you don't confront, when you don't raise the topic, the problem will remain there, and there will be an elephant in the room, and you'll be pretending as if nothing is in the room. But one day you will run into that elephant, or the other person will run into the elephant. So, so that conflict resolution skills needs to be developed by you. Learn to talk about your issues without aggression, without hatred, without anger, without fighting, and just talk about it. Just raise it up with love, with understanding, and let's talk it over rather than just being hysterical, panicking, shouting, screaming. So maturity knows how to deal with conflict. With maturity, mentally matured person knows how to deal with conflict. Okay. Another aspect of mental maturity that you might need before you consider dating anybody or going into a relationship is the aspect of dealing with other people's habits or bad habits or patterns or you must know how to deal and cope with other person's habits, patterns, things that they do differently than you. That might not necessarily be seen, but some people don't like. For example, when I got married first, my wife didn't like the way I was laughing. That I laugh everywhere. She was the silent type. She was the quiet type. So each time I laugh, it was a crisis for her. It was a problem. She was always using her hand to pull my trouser under the table. She was always pulling my trouser under the table. I should stop laughing everywhere. But I'm still laughing the same because I know that's part of my personality. I don't think I can ever stop laughing. But later on, you know what? She got used to it, and she later said that's one of the things she likes me for now because I laugh everywhere. I don't care where. But before, she used to think that that was a bad thing. But later on, she likes it because I'm the same everywhere. She was thinking you should laugh like that at home, but not in public. But you know what? And many other things like that that other people might not be able to. So there are things that other people do that we might think we don't like, and we're not fancy of. So how do you deal with that? So the ability to cope with other people's manners, the ability to cope with other people's habits or other people's lifestyle, patterns of life that might be totally different from what you are used to, is also a sign of maturity. It's also a sign of maturity. Okay, next point. Next point is a matured person will know how to recognize another person's right. Everybody has a right to, recognize another person's right. Sometimes we lack the ability to recognize another person's right. He also has the right to say his opinion, like me. He also has the right to express his doubt or his opinion or the ability to recognize other people's rights without getting mad at them, without getting angry, the ability to know that other people also have their rights. That's a sign of maturity. A lot of people cannot cope with people who have other opinion than them. A lot of people cannot cope with the fact that you have another opinion than them. So if you have another opinion, they think you are their enemies. So, and that is a big problem. When anybody that has a different opinion, you think is an enemy, that is a big problem right there. People might die far from you. They might have a different understanding, a different opinion. That doesn't mean they are your enemies. That doesn't mean you have to fight them. So recognize, a matured person will recognize another person's right. Another person's right to their own opinion, to hold a separate, differing opinion to whatever they are thinking. So it's another sign of maturity. Finally, the final sign that I'm going to give you today, the final sign of mental maturity is the ability to maintain a peaceful climate, a peaceful atmosphere, the ability to maintain a peaceful atmosphere in a team, in a company, in a circle, in a club, or in friendship, in a relationship. There are some people who cannot maintain peace for too long. They are fighting all the time. So the ability to maintain peace, the ability to maintain a healthy atmosphere, peaceful atmosphere in relationship is also a sign of maturity. There are some, especially girls have problem with this. Every 5 minutes they are fighting about something. I mean, not with each other, but with their boyfriends or their man. They're always angry about something. The next thing you look at her, she's already angry. She's already, is anything wrong? Nothing. What is wrong? What did I do wrong? No, I don't know. So they are not matured enough to maintain a healthy climate. Always angry, always good. And you have to develop that as well. You have to develop that. You have to learn to speak your mind. You have to learn to tell people what you're going through. You have to learn to express what is inside of you, what you don't agree with, and to, share you with people rather than just going angry. And, so men don't like that, Men don't like to. That's why some people don't come back from work. They rather prefer to stay back at work or with their friends because they are afraid of coming to meet an atmosphere at home that is full of intensity, anger, and men don't like conflict. Men don't like strife and a conflicting, quarreling atmosphere. Men don't like an atmosphere of conflict and fight, hysteria, and things like that. So they would rather stay away. Or some of them will go and drink. Some of them will go to the bar or to the pub because they want to avoid the conflict atmosphere, the conflicting crisis at home. Well, that's all I have for you today. So let's go and share this link. Let's go and share the link. I hope you are blessed today. Let's go share the link. I've given you so much today. In fact, I'm thinking I've given you too much today. So these are the qualities of a matured woman. If you don't have these qualities, you are not mature enough to marry. The physical maturity is nothing. This is the real thing that you need. These are the qualities that you need to say you are ready for marriage. If you are not, this is just one aspect. Tomorrow I'm going to continue. There are other aspects of maturity that we'll still talk about tomorrow. So, ladies, let's go and share this link. Men as well, let's go and share the link and write some comments or some remark on the video that you are sharing. Write your opinion. Let's let the people who are going to see it know what you are thinking. Okay. Now, if you have shared the link, let me read out some of your comments. I hope you are blessed. Is there anybody blessed today? Or I've just been preaching to myself? Have I just been preaching to myself or someone has been blessed? Let me see. I don't even know what to read now. Shinwen said, we want to improve and become better wives. Okay. Nkiru said, yeah, when I understood that, I expressed myself a lot more better in all my glory. Shinwe says, sometimes you express it and you are misunderstood. Yeah, that's the problem with men because not all the men too are matured, you see. Ngoya Sharis, yes, communication is key. I agree. Elizabeth says, shy pastor, this one. It's difficult to score 10 upon 10. Okay. We just work on it. Pastor Team says, marriage is all about agreement and cooperation with others. Sometimes it can make, that will make it work. Shinwe says, I understand shortcomings and ready to help improve, but I lose the ability to understand the repetition of the same thing all over again. Yeah. That is marriage for you. That's why those things, you shouldn't be practicing them in marriage. You should practice them before marriage. You should have those qualities before marriage. Omonika said, yes, you have to be tolerant if you want to be married, because some men are so dirty. You can just finish making everywhere neat, and they might come with friends and mess up everywhere for you. Wow. Someone here is writing, Winifred Akpan, I am making a conscious effort to score 10 upon 10 in everything. Wow. Brilliant. You're going to be a great wife. Wow. Akomolafe Julius says, marriage is a business, a sacrifice, but people prepared for wedding, but never for marriage. They don't prepare for marriage, they only prepare for wedding. Uh, Patricia says, in some Nigerian culture, it is believed that women have no right to say anything. Wow. They are to be seen, but never to be heard. That's very bad. Shinwe, thank you, Pastor. Let us ponder on these ones first. Tomorrow we will continue with the outstanding ones. TY, thank you so much, Dr. Adelaja. Hard truth, but life-saving, not just for marriage, but in all aspects of life. Brilliant. God will help us. So. Nkiru, highly blessed we are, sir. Patty Bafu, oh my goodness, so much to learn. Lots of growing up to do. You see why life is difficult in marriage for some people now, because they went into marriage without knowing these things or without working on them. A lot of growing up to do. I wish this could be taught in church and counseling people before marriage. Matthew Esson. Conclusion: anyone who is not physically and mentally matured has no business with marriage. Don't be moved by the marriage ceremony or wedding. It needs serious preparation. Winifred said, the Bible says it is better to stay on the top, on the rooftop, than with a contentious woman, and man too. Shinwe says, I'm blessed, and now I know where to adjust. Thank you, sir. Ifeoma said, thank you so very much. I came in late. I have to go and listen to this message again. Patricia says, thank you very much, sir, for this message. If I had these teachings earlier, I would have waited a bit longer before getting married. God bless you, sir, for your time and love for these mentoring messages. Ngozi Awolese, I'm always blessed with your messages. Thank you. Ola Martin, thank you, sir. Now I know where to work on, improve on, and do better. God bless, sir. Steve Osarity, thank you, Pastor. A lot of us are married but guilty of all these points. My prayer is that God will help us to work on ourselves. Apostle Timothy says, thank you, Pastor. This is deliverance movement. Justin said, I have to work on nearly all the areas, all the points mentioned. It is time for some good old solitude. Then the question is, what have we been doing in churches? What has been happening in churches if we have to start working on these points now? What have we been doing in churches? Molly said, thank you, my father. I also thank God for crisis. With these points you gave us today has given me peace. I believe now I'm overdue for second marriage. Love you, sir. Thank you. Jolomi White said, I count myself blessed by listening to the ladies' message and reading all their messages, their comments. It is giving me a great insight into the mind of women, and so learning how to gently handle them. Mercy or Lighton, some culture in Nigeria still believe women only belong to the other room. Honestly, people need to grow up. Thanks so much, sir. More grace. Ngoya Sharis, really enjoyed this, Pastor. It is good and encouraging to see how far one has come, and it is equally challenging to see how much more there still is to learn. I used to see myself as a perfectionist, and I humbly can say that I have come a long way as I could see myself in your teachings now. I have never had the opportunity to see stages of maturity in such detail, and this enables me to properly evaluate if I truly am ready or not, irrespective of my own feelings. I will consciously apply this in my everyday relationships. In fact, we don't need to be in any romantic relationship in order to learn and grow in these areas. What a blessing. Thank you, Pastor. Patience Eromosele. I entered into a marriage, made a lot of mistakes. Thank God for restoring that marriage. Neki Okoro. This is a more realistic message than the Proverb 31 message. I will pass this down to my girls. Well, thank you so very much, everyone, and we've had a very good and long evening. I hope you are blessed, and please go share the link if you have not done that, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. God bless. Bye.